Valve designed the 2026 Steam Machine to serve as a plug-and-play console for your PC library, attempting to move the desktop experience into the living room without the usual configuration hurdles. 10 years ago, the original Steam Machine line collapsed almost immediately because the Linux-based operating system lacked a library of compatible games. Valve spent the intervening decade fixing that. They built Proton, a sophisticated compatibility layer that allows massive Windows exclusives to run natively out of the box, removing the biggest software barrier. But solving the software problem exposed a severe hardware reality. The new entry-level model launches with a massive $1,050 price tag. Global memory shortages are driving that markup. RAM suppliers are allocating their limited inventory to enormous AI data centers, leaving smaller manufacturers to pay inflated rates for the remaining stock. This creates a difficult choice, deciding if this specific form factor and software integration is worth paying a massive premium over raw computing power. To find the right answer, we have to look at the three distinct paths available for the living room in 2026. Option 1 is paying $1,050 for the official Steam Machine to get Valve's unified, out-of-the-box experience. Option 2 is building a DIY mini ITX PC from off-the-shelf parts and installing Vazite, a Linux distribution built to mimic SteamOS. Option 3 is moving away from the PC ecosystem entirely and buying a standard home console like the PlayStation 5. We can simplify the decision by comparing these three paths across actual costs, required technical effort, and final frame rate outputs. This diagram maps Valve's strict power caps. They locked the Zen 4 CPU to 30 watts and the GPU to 110 watts. This reduces heat generation. Without meeting high-speed fans, the system runs at a virtually silent 20 to 24 decibels under load. The direct consequence of these power limits is a cap on graphical performance. In heavy gaming benchmarks, the Steam Machine performs similarly to a previous generation desktop RTX 3060. If you push the hardware with ray tracing in modern AAA titles, the frame rates struggle, often dropping well below 30 frames per second in demanding areas. That specific graphical ceiling puts the Valve hardware right in line with a standard PlayStation 5. Valve clearly prioritized thermal control and acoustic invisibility over maximizing raw processing speed. That limited speed is compounded by the memory configuration. The base model ships with just 16 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, which acts as the absolute bare minimum for modern gaming. This visualizes a hardware compromise resulting from supply chain chaos. Instead of dual-channel memory, Valve ships some units with a single 16-gigabyte stick. A single channel cuts the data pipeline in half, starting the processor during complex games and dropping the frame rate. That specific restriction artificially lowers your frame rates compared to a standard dual-channel desktop setup running the exact same processor. Buyers are paying a premium price for a machine burdened by supply-constrained internal bottlenecks. What justifies the price is the software execution. The SteamOS interface offers seamless controller navigation from your couch that few Windows PCs can match. But the operating system has a stubborn blind spot. It relies heavily on developers updating third-party anti-cheat software for Linux compatibility. When developers refuse, the games simply will not boot. Massive multiplayer titles like F1 2024 are completely unplayable on the native operating system. If you want to bypass Valve's specific hardware constraints, your alternative is building a custom DIY PC and installing the Vazite operating system. Vazite perfectly mimics the SteamOS user interface. You get the exact same couch-friendly menus, but unrestricted desktop parts achieve higher frame rates while saving you over $100. The trade-off for the DIY route is physical, sourcing the components yourself, managing louder cooling fans, and housing a larger computer case. This flowchart maps out the three specific paths to resolve this dilemma, based entirely on your personal priorities. If you prioritize maximum visual fidelity for your budget and want to avoid the GameCube markup, follow the path to the DIY Mini ITX PC. You keep the raw performance, but you lose Valve's single-point customer support and their bespoke acoustic engineering. If you only care about playing current AAA games with zero friction and you don't already own a massive PC library, follow the path to the PlayStation 5. You save over $500 upfront, trading away the open PC ecosystem and accepting a monthly fee for online multiplayer. If you have a deep Steam library, high disposable income, and demand a perfectly silent room while you play, follow the path to the Steam Machine. Taking this route means knowingly paying a premium for extreme form factor miniaturization and software integration, rather than raw graphical power. The $1,050 price and capped power targets prevent this machine from being the console killer many expected it to be. Valve has produced a specialized enthusiast tool, trading raw performance for silent operation and a footprint small enough for an entertainment center. It exists strictly for those willing to pay a heavy early adopter tax to access their entire PC library from the couch without ever hearing a single fan spin up.